it's interesting that I know a lot of people whose relationships did not work because of COVID. And I think it's safe to say that the belief is most people separated or broke up because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I think y'all are a testament that that's not the case.
Right.
There's probably other people out there who also came closer or figured out a way to make it work.
Absolutely.
Folks got into the pandemic, was like, yo, I got to be with you like this? No, not like this. Not like this.
Take a seat and put your feet up. We gon' meet up. Sit with me and sip some tea with Remy Mulatto. Give me bottles of Hennessy and Moscato. They had enough already, but there's plenty to follow. I stay poetic with Jay Noetic, remaining effective. Conversation getting heavy, staying respected. Playing the record, maintaining collective. Saying what you think, it ain't no place for rejection. I claim it and meant it. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. Tell me what you think. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. So tell me what you think. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. Tell me what you think. It's mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
Welcome to a Method Podcast. I'm Jay Noetic.
I'm Remy Mulatto.
I bring the content.
I bring the chaos.
And with that, we believe the best way to have truthful conversations
is to have mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks.
And that's what we call a motherfucking method.
Hey.
Welcome to a Method Podcast. I just want to make sure they can hear us, though.
So can y'all hear us in the comments? Please let us know if y'all can hear us, because, sometimes we be having technical difficulties.
Because 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I guess I could take this off and put that back, but that's the Bluetooth.
All right, so somebody said
we're good. All right, then we good to go. Always best to double check. If it's your first time here, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that share button, turn on the notifications for when we drop a new episode. This week we have 2 additional guests who are hosts of their very own podcast called His, Hers, and Ours. They are a dynamic duo, entangled at the hip. They are each other's better half, or maybe not, who knows? I'm talking about Solomon and Shannon. Say what's up.
What's good?
Thank you.
How y'all feeling, man? Y'all feeling good?
We're blessed, man. It's an honor to be here. We had you guys on the podcast as guests, and glad you reciprocated.
We so glad y'all
sure.
here. When we was on y'all podcast, we had such a good time, so we feel like it was only right to return the favor, have y'all come on with us.
We appreciate it.
There's enough for everyone to eat. Enough food out there for all of us to eat. So it's good to share and promote one another and do what we do. So we're going to have a great conversation tonight. As y'all know, Method Heads, we're talking about unconventional, aka non-traditional relationship in the Method message. But before we do any of that, what are we drinking on tonight? What y'all drinking on over there?
I'm on white, so it's vodka, a little Amsterdam.
Wait, you call just white liquor just white too? I never call liquor white.
Just white.
I think about wine.
She said, I just drink white.
I think about wine. I say white wine, red wine, but I never say white liquor.
Yeah, you have to have white liquor or brown, because brown get you down.
White or brown?
White is right.
Yeah, the details don't matter.
I like my brown though.
Yeah, some people don't fuck with one or the other.
You can't mess with them together.
I get
so
that. I get that.
If I'm gonna be white, I'm gonna be white all day, or if I'm gonna go brown, it's brown.
Yeah.
Like it's no turning back.
So I'm half white. So for most of my drinking career, I was just mixing what the fuck ever, and I was like, damn, why do I always feel so fucked up? I just don't get it. But yeah, now I kind of stick to one or the other.
I actually don't mind mixing, but I don't actually get drunk though. So I don't like drink past.
Yeah, it's probably not too bad.
If
you really pace yourself, only do like 2 drinks.
Well, I'm not good at pacing. I am horrible. I end up white girl wasted.
She like the
white
drink.
Girl wasted.
She like the drink. What is your favorite? Like, what do you love to drink on?
She said tequila earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What do I like to drink?
Hey, it's on you. He asked you. I know what gets you there.
So tell.
No.
Do tell.
I do want to know what you're going to say, but what you think?
So for me, my go-to, I guess, what do I usually order? I can't even think of it right now. Like, of course, when I'm on the spot, I can't think of it.
That's all good. That's all right.
That's all right. We'll come back to it.
What you think it is?
I know it's some tequila with something fruity in it. Pineapple juice or cranberry juice or something like that.
I think that's as I've matured. Because like before, it used to be, straight. Let me get it straight. Yeah,
I'm going to do nothing straight.
So it's something about, for some reason, when I was younger, I felt like tequila was like the devil. Is it something about getting older that like kind of changes what tequila feels like?
Absolutely.
Tequila smoother and it has less calories. So they say it's the best thing if you don't want to have a hangover the next day. Tequila is the way to go.
Man, you got to use the whole Gatorade trick ahead of time. Just hydrate.
Hydrate
for sure, man.
Hydrate.
Well, my homegirls always tell me to take a BC or a goodie before, so it keeps the headaches away.
Okay.
That
what?
kind of helps you.
Wait,
a
do tell?
BC or a goodie.
What is that?
You know, like
the
headache powder.
BC
The
powder.
powders.
Oh,
BC
okay.
powders.
Okay.
That shit work quick.
Life hack. All right, I got it.
It's about that time, Remy. We're going to get into what we call a method movie. It's your first time here. This is where I'm going to play a movie clip for the table and for you. You need to be able to guess the movie before them, and they have to guess it before you and each other. This is not I know you are a team, but this is not a team sport.
Oh,
all right.
No
we in competition all the time.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Now I know you watching it at home. You think it's easy. Think you're gonna get it?
I thought it was easy last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what movie? Let me get my phone back. I don't want nobody cheating. Is this?
Ain't no cheaters in this building. We all faithful up in here.
Terry and Miles could pay for everything, and then maybe we could pay you all back in installments or something.
Don't you start
How
none
to-
of that
wait.
game on me again.
Oh my gosh,
What,
because
you
that's
expect me
Vivica
to
Fox.
Bail Lem out of
Maybe
jail
no
too.
hints.
Now come on, Terry. Lem doesn't have.
Oh,
okay. How we can pay for Mama's bills is by
Oh,
selling the big.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Soul Food.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not
Correct. Soul
selling the
food
house.
is soul
Hey.
food. Y'all pretty quick on that one. I wanted to give y'all an
We can't
easy
even
one. I didn't
afford
want to stump my
Sunday
guess.
dinners.
But this is soul
Nobody's paying
food.
for the taxes.
This came out in
20%
1997.
Wow. it's 25 years.
1997. How old were y'all in 1997? Can you remember?
I was a senior in high
25 years
school.
ago.
18 turning 19.
Oh, we're all around the same age.
Yeah.
Okay. 97. I graduated in 99, so I was 18. So I was 16 years old in 97.
I would have been 13. Too young to be watching that movie.
Damn, you were 13? You were that young, Remy?
So was it a rated R or?
Well,
was
you know,
it-
Yeah, it was
you know,
rated
like
R.
it's it's like the one sex scene,
Oh yeah.
and I think that's probably the worst of it. And there's some cussing, but
A lot of
Yeah.
cussing.
not really kids.
But
movie.
was this movie good? Was it actually good? I
Um,
don't know if it was really good. I mean, I think in hindsight,
was
97, we
entertaining.
thought it was decent. But like, when you go back and watch it, it's kind of like,
But that's with any movie, though. I mean, if you go back and look at movies now from back then,
oh yeah,
and
that's true.
say, that ain't what's
That's
up.
true.
But back then, when you saw, it, you was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
ill.
You know what I
Different
would think?
perspective.
You know what I would think about that movie? I mean, the one element that would be missing is like Medea or whatever, but it's kind of like Tyler Perry-esque. You know what I
Right.
mean? Where it's like
Exactly.
family
Very,
drama and
very,
crazy
yes.
shit going on with family members and stuff. That type of movie.
So for me, I think growing up in a family with siblings, and you have like 3 girls, so I can kind of relate and see different perspectives.
Mhm.
So for me, it did kind of hit home. Like, okay, I can see how this happens.
Yeah.
It felt like a classic when it first came out. Now,
Yeah.
not so much. Like, it's not something I'm just gonna jump on.
Yeah. One thing I love about especially this particular movie is like the analysis that you kind of get from like people who see it now and looking back on it. Like the movie is about like you ever hear the Boondocks take
Yeah.
on the movie? Like
Absolutely.
they're like the movie's about soul food, but like this food is what killed grandma. And then like the sort of like the big sister who was like sort of like the villain of the movie was she was kind of right in the end. Like everybody was kind of being fucked up towards her for no
Yeah.
reason. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, was the TV show a spinoff of the movie? Because the TV
Yeah.
show
It
had
was
like
supposed
5
to.
seasons.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I thought the TV show was amazing. I actually enjoyed the TV show.
I don't think
So
I watched the TV show that long.
Never.
No.
I thought it was good. It had 5
Yeah,
seasons of it.
But
Yeah,
I think
it was
that's how
popular.
Nicole Ari Parker and Boris Kojo got together. It's from the series, from the spinoff. So I
See,
think
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So doing the spinoff is how that kind of came about.
See, y'all put me on information I wasn't even aware of. So in 97, so this movie did $43 million. $43 million. What do you think the number one movie was in 1997? The number one movie.
Was it a Marvel?
It was not a Marvel.
But
Marvel
no-
hadn't blown up yet.
What
at
I
no-
just
that
want to
time.
say.
97.
You're going
Can
to
you
give us a hint?
Yeah, yeah.
You want a hint? The
It's a
hint
black
was-
movie. Probably
It
wasn't
had a
black.
black actor in it. It was a black
Denzel?
male actor who still acts today.
With Jamie Foxx.
No, it was probably a Will Smith movie.
Probably Will Smith. Yeah,
Mm.
Correct. It was this.
I know what it is.
Independence Day?
That's what I was gonna say.
No, that was Men in
Oh,
Black.
Men in Black.
Okay.
There we go.
Wow.
Yo, you trying to get us muted?
I just played the clip. I just played the clip. So yeah,
Don't mute us,
Right.
Facebook.
that was the #1 movie in 1997. It did $250 million. So in comparison
Wow.
to Soul Food, it did
Five
43
times
million.
Man, Will Smith was untouchable for a while.
He's
Just-
still kind of untouchable. I mean, I know he fucked up with everything, but we still fuck with Will
Did you
Smith.
see his
though.
new movie? The
Emancipation.
Is it out already?
Yeah, it's out.
It's
I
out.
haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things about it.
I watched it.
I'm-
What'd you
I
think?
mean,
It's heavy. It's heavy. Like I never expected Will Smith to do a slave movie, and it is definitely a slave movie.
But do you
know
think
what I
that
mean?
He
was
said
because
it
of
wasn't a slave.
timing?
Mhm.
Do you think that was due to timing?
You mean like he did it?
The Emancipation movie, the timing of everything else that took place, the slap that's heard around the world. Do you
Right.
think that had to do with timing to kind of get back in good graces?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I could definitely see like the Oscars like looking at him again because of it. You know what I mean? Because it's quite the performance.
So you do think it's an Oscar-nominated performance?
It's hard to say. I think he put a lot into it. You know what I mean? Like you could tell he worked
Okay.
really hard on it, and I believe it was produced by like his company and everything. So
with that being said, isn't that kind of the fucked up part of things to know that here you put your hard work and efforts into something that could finally be rewarded with a
Mhm.
nomination of best movie or best actor, what have you, and because of your actions previously, you won't be acknowledged.
right.
Yeah, no, you're right, 100%, man. Like it's sad that that's the case, and I think we all knew his next film he was going to be punished,
Mhm.
right? And hopefully, but you know what? You know how it is. They don't like to give Black people forgiveness. Like people, we fuck up.
Facebook user said
Somebody
no.
said it was already in the works.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure. I was just thinking more of the timing of when it dropped. So, but I can
Yeah,
believe
I mean,
that.
he probably could have held
it.
it, but yeah, they put it out straight on Apple.
who knows?
It's on
Who
Apple
knows?
TV. It's not bad. Not a bad movie.
How long is it? About what?
It's standard like 2-hour movie
Okay.
or whatever. The only thing I don't love that they had it in like the black and white. It's not straight black and white. It's just like black and white-ish, but there's some
Okay.
color. But it kind of makes it like, I mean, I guess it's supposed to set the tone. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But it wasn't bad. Wasn't a bad movie. And then it's based on a true story, which I can appreciate. Like I like that about it.
For every choice we make, there's a repercussion, right?
That's for
so
sure.
unfortunately, that's
Can't-
what Will had to deal
You
with.
can't just be slapping people out in the world. You
Which
know,
is-
you gotta,
which
you
is
gotta
wild,
keep your hands to yourself.
Which is wild because Chris Rock has benefited from it for sure.
Yeah,
But let's not go down that road. Hey, before we get into Method Weekly, man, I think we should do a quick little interview of his, hers, and ours, so that
Yeah.
the method heads know exactly who is sitting at this table. So my first question to you two: what is your podcast? What is it about?
So we like to subtitle it as.
Oh, what would that look for? What would that
Oh,
look
because I was
for?
going to defer to her.
Trying to do it.
That
was
That
his
was
like-
like Will look
that
at
was his
it
like, yeah.
Nah, so we call it his, hers, and ours, a real life couple holding real life conversation with real life friends.
Right on.
And basically everything is casual. We break it up into segments. The first segment is usually something going on in the culture or, things that people are talking about in the culture. The second segment usually revolves around relationships. We've had a lot of guests that have been single females, single males, and what it's like because, we've both been out of the dating game for a minute. So what is it like from a singles person perspective, and what is it that you're looking for? What do you feel is holding you back? What is it that you would like the other sex to know? Just things like that. And then we offer suggestions of what we think, could help in a successful relationship because, as we're going to get into later on, we're a very non-conventional couple.
I didn't know that. So that's good to know because
Right on.
we're going to be talking about how long have you been married?
8 years.
All
8
right.
years.
Together for 12, married for 8.
All right.
Somebody at this table is engaged to be married, and it ain't me. It ain't me. So I'm
don't ring
sure.
no finger.
I'm sure he has some things they're gonna pick the brain about.
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to do a podcast? Who said, "Hey, I think we should do a podcast"?
So truth be told, being married for 8 years, I think we started the podcast a little over 2 years ago, right around COVID. We went through some struggles in our marriage. There was a lot of feelings of neglect on both ends. And being that we were in COVID, it just caused us to be in the house together. And with that, you know, both of us have a habit of, we love to smoke cigars and drink to relax. So we're on the patio a lot, and it forced us to hold conversations. And many of those conversations were very uncomfortable, but it opened our eyes to a lot of things.
100%.
So then it got to the point that after COVID and things started opening back up, I was doing a podcast with some fellow friends strictly about sports. And one of the producers of that show came to me and was like, you know, we need to get a female's perspective on this. And one of the things I love about my wife is that she's a sports head.
Right.
She can sit down and hold a conversation with anyone about any sport. So I was like, you know, I'll bring my wife on. And from there, they were like, you guys got great chemistry. You should do your own podcast. And hers, and ours was born from that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
You got nothing to add to that? You just
Nope, I'm not, because honestly, he's telling the story as it is. So COVID, you know, kind of saved our relationship because we were at a breaking point. And so I think that when you're a married couple or any couple, period, when you're together for a long time, things happen and you begin to kind of fall into just the norm of just like everyday life happening. So when COVID came, it was going to be a make or break, and it made us. So I'm happy.
So at the end of the day, you would say that your podcast was kind of like therapeutic for your relationship.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
You know, when some people, you know, when they do podcasts, they look at it from a marketing standpoint or something that they could, you know, come up off of. And we don't do it for that. We do it strictly for the entertainment, the time together. I mean, and with the crazy life that we both have, working, being parents and what have you, that 90 minutes to 2 hours is our time for us.
Right on.
I get that.
And it's quality time. You know, y'all spend that together.
It's interesting that I know a lot of people whose relationships did not work because of COVID. And I think it's safe to say that the belief is most people separated or broke up because of COVID. And I think y'all are a testament that that's not the case.
Right.
There's probably other people out there who also became closer or figured out a way to make it work.
Absolutely.
Folks got into the pandemic, was like, yo, I got to be with you like this. No, not like this. Not like this.
But at least they had an opportunity to see, like, if this is really what you want. It was like a test for those people who are like in those young relationships, and you're trying to figure out, oh, is this really who I want to, you know, spend the next years or the rest of my life with? And that was for us too.
The pandemic just kind of like just took everything, like put it in a box and just swirled it all around, and then everything that came out was like just chaos. Everything was different. Everything is different now. So I'm glad it brought y'all closer. That's
COVID changed a lot of stuff. What's something that you learned? Sorry, y'all, we a little close in here on tonight's episode. So we might be bumping elbows and knees. I promise you, I'm not flirting with your boo.
Hey.
You know, we just a little tight.
It's all right. They in an unconventional relationship.
Right.
Exactly.
But they didn't say what though. They didn't say what.
We're gonna talk about it.
So
though.
what's something you learned about podcasting that you wasn't aware of before you started? Is there anything you was like, damn, this really gave me a different perspective, or I didn't know this about podcasting? Because a lot of people want to get into podcasting, and a lot of people are scared to jump into it. And so I think it's good to just tell some tips or something you learned about it.
So for me, it was more of the preparation and the, I guess, the time commitment. Understanding that, hey, if we're going to do this, this is going to be an opportunity for us to, you know, to have this space, this platform. Let's use it to our best abilities. But at the same time, understand that like when we're scheduling people, the time that goes into that process, or how we reach out to people to get them involved or say, hey, will you come and join us on our podcast? But it's been more of a team effort with that process.
I agree with that as well. For me, I would think it's being more aware and being of yourself and being true to yourself, because you never know who's watching, who's listening. And we get many a times where we might say something and all of a sudden someone will DM one of us and like, hey, so you really felt like this? Have you ever thought about from this? I'm like, damn, did I really say that? So, I mean, it's just being real to yourself and not putting down a fake perception out there.
100%. You know? Yeah, I feel like for me, I enjoy just being my authentic self and seeing people be like, oh man, I feel the same way you do. But so many people are afraid to say that's how they feel, or that's how they're thinking. So your point, people, you never know who's listening, who's watching. So it's always good to see some people slide in the DM or talk to you about something, you know?
Oh no. I'm looking at the comments. Love saying love win.
Reggie.
Yeah, I can appreciate it.
Reggie, we all know Reggie. Well, I know us
He's
three
the
know Reggie.
team captain of Team Solomon. So of course he's
Solomon.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the podcast now? Where can people find your podcast? And when did you normally go live?
So right now you can find us on iHeart, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, or wherever it is that you stream your podcast from. We're uploaded weekly. Usually we go live on Twitch on Saturdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And the next couple of weeks we might be a little delayed with the holiday season and what have you, and a lot of things going on. So, looking at bringing season 2 back January 2023.
Right on.
And you may be transitioning to a new location, which is dope and exciting. It's always good for growth, and what change it's not always comfortable at first,
Right.
but once you make that change, you're like, okay, I'm glad I did
Hey
it.
man,
So,
it ain't change, it's evolution.
evolution.
I would like to share one thing that I loved about when we were on your podcast, what I realized. So when we were there were like maybe 6-7 people in the room.
Right.
But even with that, you would expect kind of like a more chaotic conversation, but you could feel that like everybody kind of respected each other's space as far as like I have something to say, and then everything that people had to say, because there's so many people listening, it has like there's more there, you know what I mean? Right. So like the conversation was like very like it felt intense, you know what I mean? I like that. I like a nice intense conversation. So I enjoy being on your podcast a lot.
I appreciate it. We loved having you.
Nah, it was a good conversation. I definitely enjoyed it. I like going on and showing out. Your TV just turned off, by the way. Your big ass TV over there. We don't need it. We still going. But we can't see the comments over there. All right, man. So I think we should get into what we call. I want to do Method Weekly. Feel like doing it?
Let's do Method Weekly.
All right, we're gonna do Method Weekly. So one thing I learned about podcasting is that people don't really understand what work it takes behind the scenes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So when you have like a vision, like you gotta go create that stuff, or you pay somebody.
Right.
And most people don't have the money to go out and be paying people that stuff. So
Right.
I created all this stuff, and anyway, that's another conversation. So Method Weekly, man. So Method Weekly is when we talk about something that's in the news, anything that's in the news that's trending. Y'all got anything in your mind that you want to bring up?
Well, first and foremost, Brittany Griner is home.
I'm glad she's home,
which is
glad she's
beautiful.
home.
But there's a little bit of controversy around it, considering I think there was like another prisoner who
ex-Marine.
Yeah, who wasn't even mentioned, and then the trade for Brittany Griner was given up like a arms dealer or whatever,
Right?
Or basically like a terrorist. So, what are y'all thoughts on that?
So part of that, the terrorist or the prisoner, he had already been in prison for 14 years here. So if he's not going to be able to come back here at all, like I don't, I feel like we've kind of, fair trade.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I felt bad for the military personnel that was left behind. But I think he knew. I think that there was a conversation that was had. Like he knew that he probably wouldn't be a part of that process. But because, let's be real, Brittany was the biggest snag, like the biggest name. She played basketball for them. So she was like low hanging fruit.
Right.
So no matter what, I still to this day believe they probably entrapped her.
They could have planted that shit or whatever.
Russia
Yeah.
did that on purpose.
Right. And they knew
it.
And they knew it.
Russia love fucking with us. They just love fucking with us.
I just want to say that I don't think, based on what I read, it wasn't from a lack of trying. Like President Biden and the people in charge wanted him as part of the package deal. They tried. So either get him or not get him, or all or nothing. And Russia wasn't budging. So what do? Do you just
take what you can get?
You take what you can get. And so I'm not upset. So no, don't ever leave a Marine behind. That Marine gonna be all right.
Yeah, because he was trained, right?
Yeah,
like he was professionally trained. That was his career path, and I get it. And I really felt bad for him that he still has to be there. But at the same time, like Brittany is not, she wasn't built for that.
Right.
So
yeah, I felt so bad for her. I mean, for one, she probably couldn't even fathom that's what could have happened under the circumstances.
Right.
Just like this is normal back home wherever she is from or whatever, and then she just happens to be in this foreign country and they have this huge issue.
Well, she was over there playing basketball.
Right.
That's what she was working
Right, but it's
So,
it's
yeah.
been so like marijuana is so normalized in the States or whatever that I could see a lot of us not even thinking about it. I
It
mean,
was,
Yeah.
and it was a pen. It was
Yeah.
the vape pen.
I personally have trafficked a little bit of marijuana, between states. I haven't been out of the country yet or whatever, but obviously I can get in trouble for that. But America, we're beyond that. We're getting beyond that at this point. So for
Right.
something like that to happen, it's crazy.
Well, it's important to remember that what's legal here is not legal in other places.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what you got to keep in
Solomon,
mind.
what's your thoughts on Brittany Griner? Come on.
I mean, I feel that what she was sentenced to, as we've all just stated, it was very, very much overwhelming. There shouldn't have been an opportunity like that for her to have to go through the ordeal that she did. I'm happy
Yeah.
that she's home. I'm upset of how we got people in society today who can't celebrate a win without throwing a loss somewhere else.
100%.
I mean, it wasn't all
100%.
before all of this happened. Yeah, you might have heard little rumblings about this Marine that's over there, but it wasn't brought to the attention or the spotlight that it has been with Brittany attached to it.
Nobody
Right.
knew about that fucking Marine.
Mhm.
No one knew.
But I
Only
will
because
say,
of social media, it made a bigger thing.
when people say the internet is undefeated, I mean, I just look at things on the internet just to get a laughter out of it. And I think one thing that I thought was hilarious, there was a meme that went out. It was like the Brittany Griner trade was the only WNBA trade that's ever made headlines.
Oh, that's terrible.
I saw a lot of memes that were funny about Brittany Griner. I won't even go to them, but I want to shout out President Joe Biden. Black people especially give him a lot of shit, but he has been representing hard for black women.
Right.
Okay,
All except for one.
hold on.
Whoa.
He put a vice president
Okay.
that's black.
All except for one.
He just brought Brittany Griner home,
Okay.
black, right? He just put a black Supreme Court justice,
Okay.
woman, on there.
But that's political pressure.
But it's all political.
Right.
It's all political. He has to cater to his base. Or he doesn't. He could put a white person in there.
Right, but look at this. Do you think that even as putting a black woman as his vice president, do you think Biden has set Kamala up the same way Barack set him up?
No.
No.
Okay.
But I don't know if
Hell,
Kamala
have you even
wants to.
seen Kamala in the last 7 to 8
I
months?
don't think she wants to
Well,
though.
so what do you mean? Like,
So-
how did Barack set Biden up?
You saw Biden everywhere.
But that was Biden.
But
Like,
while-
Kamala the one that been hiding. She been hiding herself.
I mean,
like,
while-
but she's doing it on purpose. I think she doesn't want to be seen too much because people have already been trying to tear her down as much as possible. And the
Yeah.
more she's seen, the more they're gonna find shit. So I feel like she's like, well, I'm gonna become president at some point anyway. I might
See,
as
I don't
well
think
hang
so.
back.
I don't think so.
I think she
Because
thinks
she's
she
not
will.
visible, I don't think that people are gonna have you don't command that same attention, that same presence. That put it like this: Michelle wasn't in official office,
Mhm.
but people respect Michelle
Michelle had
more than
charisma,
they
though.
respect
Michelle,
Kamala.
Michelle, I wish Michelle. Anyway, it's not going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's not going down that rabbit hole. But all y'all are right. I don't know if Biden can win again, but I hope he does versus who we going against. But we'll see.
I don't know how this motherfucker's supposed to live through another term. Like, for
I
real.
know he can't even ride his bike.
For real.
Like,
Like, he still got 2 years left on this term,
I
and he gonna
know.
run again and do 4 more years. All right.
Yeah, Father Time is undefeated. Okay, I'm gonna just let
So
that
Kamala gonna be president inevitably.
Yeah. All
Um,
right. Just for the sake of time, man, I think we should just go ahead and get into a message because we had 30 minutes and we need to get going on this serious but interesting conversation.
All right, let's go. If y'all
Let's
ready
do
for
it.
the method message, we about to do it.
All right, so the method message, man. Today's method message is unconventional relationships, aka non-traditional relationships. And so, starting this off,
Can we inquire about your
yeah, because honestly, I
unconventional
didn't know that y'all might have your own way of relationship. Maybe you don't have to call it unconditional, whatever you want to call it. I think we all need to build our own custom relationship. So, in your perspective, what makes your relationship kind of non-traditional? If you're comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
Wait, can I make some guesses?
Go ahead. What guesses would you like?
Are you sure you want? Are you sure you want to give him that option?
I'm gonna go ahead and just
let y'all talk. Listen. So y'all be having threesomes with midgets? Is that what it is?
How you knew?
I mean, you know, listen, love is love, right? Do it how you do it. Whatever makes
I
y'all
feel
happy.
like that still seems like a little kid, but anywho, I digress. I think what makes us unconventional in a sense is that this is my friend first. And I think that that's one of the things that is beautiful about us, that we're friends. We're able to talk. So there are conversations that can be had. So there's never like a hard no.
Okay. I like
so
that.
you can basically state your case. So we hang out together, we go to strip clubs, whatever it is, but it's not a traditional feel. Like we're not gonna hold each other hostage to tradition. So what works for us may not work for others, you know, like, so for example, I'll say there was infidelity in the past, and that may be a deal breaker for some people. And I understand that, don't get me wrong. But when you understand the why, the how, what happens,
right,
and understand your terms of what that looks like, it creates a more open environment for you.
Yeah.
So you set boundaries, but at the same time, I want to feel like gotta be your mom. You know, like if you saying you're going out with the fellas, you're going out with the fellas. I'm not calling every time.
Right.
You say, so if somebody say, well, where's Solomon? Oh, he said he going with the boys.
Yeah.
That's where he's at. It's not the clinginess of what sometimes you feel like, oh, I got to be able to check your phone all the time. Like, where are you? You know, or let me FaceTime him when he's out. That's not us. So
Gotcha.
I feel like it's just mostly a conversation in the sense of how we think about things and how we process them.
I feel like that's one of them things that comes out of like young relationships is like you want to police the other person all the time, and it's trash at the end of the day. Like it's not, nobody wants to be policed all the time. It's really just about us enjoying each other and, you know, helping each other out and working with each other or whatever. And if you got trust issues and you can't necessarily get past that, then it's problematic. And we have so many problems with communication, you know. And, you know, people make mistakes. We can talk about it and figure it out and move forward.
And that word that you just said right there, that was big for us, communication. Yeah. And one of the things that made me fall in love with Shannon is that we spent a lot of time together as friends while we were dating before we decided to be in a committed relationship. And she never made me change anything about myself, nor did I ask her to change anything about herself.
That's key.
And so, you know, one thing she just stated that, I mean, I gotta back up because it's the 100% truth with us. There's never a hard no to anything. Okay, if something's brought to the table by me, something's brought to the table. Let's talk about it. What's the benefit of it? What might be the repercussions? And hey, you know, we're both down. Give it a shot.
That's something I've always said. I've been single for a while, but I've always tell people that for me, cheating, sex is not a deal breaker. Right. Cheating is a deal breaker only because I believe in an open space that you should be able to come to me and talk to me about whatever it is that you put into the table, and we can figure it out. Right now, if you say I guess I'll say that I believe in a non-traditional relationships. So if you come to me and you say, hey, I really want to sleep with so or with somebody. Okay, well, what are the options? Can I do the same thing?
Right.
Because if I can't do the same thing, then we know
it's off the table.
It's off the table.
Right.
You're coming from a selfish standpoint.
And that was always our communication in the sense of don't ever ask me to do anything you're not willing to do or willing to allow me to do. So if you ever asking me about a threesome, okay, so homeboy, I want mine first though. I want mine first. I want you to back out.
Yeah.
So that's always
Absolutely.
been our thing. So to have that conversation and be able to have open dialogue about whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel like you have to be in a place of fear when you're coming to me, or a place of judgment, because that's not where I reside. So I think that's been the most important thing when I say about an unconventional relationship.
Yeah. So we're doing my little bit of research. We call it research. You know, you looking up some stats, not even stats, just information. It said non-traditional can be non-sexual. For example, platonic relationships. Couples who love and romance one another and live together, but are not interested in sex with one another. So that's a form of a non-traditional relationship. Like, I love you, you're my person, we together, we building, but we don't have sex.
That's
Is that something?
That ain't ours.
I don't totally agree with that, but in that realm, when we first started his, hers, and ours, we were having these relationship conversations, and I came up with something called LLC.
Okay, what's that?
There's people are together for one of three reasons, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
It's either love, loyalty, or comfort and convenience.
I like that. Love,
You know, either
loyalty,
I love you, I'm gonna
comfort,
stick it out.
convenience. Yeah.
Loyalty, you were there when I was going through some hard times. I really don't love you, but hell, since you stuck with me, I'm gonna stick with you.
Right.
Comfort or convenience, like, girl, I don't really care what he out there doing. He's still, getting that bag, breaking me off. So
Right.
Mm-hmm. So y'all don't think y'all can be, not y'all in particular, but you don't think people can be in a platonic, loving relationship and not have sexual energy exchange?
Well, I feel like that happens for some couples inevitably anyway. You know, once couples start to get older, sex just kind of just isn't the priority anymore. It's just about companionship. So, I mean, it depends on the couple. I know for me, like as somebody who's sexually active, I got to be fucking somebody.
Yeah.
If I ain't fucking you, I got to be fucking somebody.
For sure. For sure.
For me, it's like if I'm in, I wouldn't mind being in a relationship where if my woman necessarily isn't as sexually active as I am or whatever, like, can we have a conversation about what we can do about that? Because I like to fuck, you know what I mean? Like as a man, I like to fuck. And if it was reversed, I wouldn't want you to just not have sex. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like you got to have sex and I just don't want to do it, or I'm just got other things going on, well, then let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we can make sure that you're satisfied, you know?
So I think as a male,
Sorry.
I think as a male, sometimes, Remy, the ego comes into play with that.
For sure.
That we ask a lot, but we're not willing to give the same thing. You know, 100%. I tell guys all the time, you know, when we have these conversations, hey, you know, you ask your girl for a threesome, or you ask your girl, hey, can I go step out and be with such and such? And if the response is, well, can I do the same thing? You're going to be like, hell no. Well, why do you feel you can do it and she can't do it?
Exactly. And there's so many people, so many men who say, yeah, I love the idea of an open relationship or polyamory or whatever, but it's only in the sense of what they can do. The moment they think about a threesome so a threesome from a man's perspective is always him and two
females, right?
But the women say, well, it's me and two guys. Oh no, I ain't doing that. But then you're not really about that life.
And see, it's the excuse that's given, because most guys, when I've had these conversations, like, hell no, I ain't doing a threesome with another dude. I ain't gay. I don't get down like that.
And it's
not about you. I mean, it's about both people pleasing her.
Yep.
But the fact is, they don't want the replay in their head that, damn, old boy might be doing something that I'm not doing, and she might be enjoying it a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my friend Gina said, when you get mad when we pull a you on you.
Right? Exactly. So when y'all think about the term non-traditional relationships, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Like, what do you think about what is non-traditional for y'all?
So
not for y'all in your relationship, but
right.
just as society. Someone says, yeah, I'm in a non-traditional relationship. Or what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I usually probably think it's a little more, and I don't, like I said, I don't judge. So I'm more of I think it's probably like a flex, whatever that looks for them. I always tell people I don't get in other married people business or relationship business in that regard, because it may not, when they say non-traditional, it could be that they may be in an open relationship that works for them. Or it may be, hey, they're able to entertain other people. And like you said about the non-sexual thing, just entertaining other people in general. So that's kind of my idea of it, being able to entertain other people.
Right.
If you fit, but that's, up to the person themselves.
I mean, I just think society wants to put everybody in a box. And when they put you in a box, it's because they can control that box. The more you break down those barriers and say, fuck it, I'm not doing what society tells me I should do, and be true to yourself, then, I mean, so when you say what's a non-conventional relationship, anything that just goes against what, normal people would say, and I won't even say normal people, because it's normal to be unnormal. If this is what I want, why should I have to sacrifice or give up what it is that I want because it appeases someone else?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree. Remy?
I feel like traditional relationships are consistently failing these days. And I feel like
it's not failing as much as you think it is.
I mean, as far as long-term stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so first of all, I think, and no disrespect to y'all marriage, I'm just talking about marriage in general. I feel like marriage as a concept is broken in this country. We've talked about this before. I feel like it should be like a contract that ultimately once that contract expires, then we decide whether or not we're going to renew. But it's not just like, oh, this is just what it is from now on, like until death do us part or whatever. No, we sign a 5-year deal, and as soon as that 5-year time
You're a
hit,
free agent?
okay, am I a free agent?
You know what I'm saying? When that 5 years hit, you're a free agent.
You just like, okay, that's a wrap on this unless we decide to re-up, because sometimes it's like it just don't be hitting after a while. And we're so used to the idea that of the happily ever after, but that's not really how people work. Like people tend to like, they're like on different paths, and their paths might align for a while, and you might ride together for a little while, but eventually you start feeling like you're going different ways.
You grow different,
and there's nothing wrong with that. But society has built it where you feel like you have to tear yourselves apart in order to figure that out. Whereas if it was more normalized to just allow people to make a decision. Is this still working for us? And if it is, let's continue. But if it's not, let's figure. If we don't change the rules or do something else, then we can go our separate ways.
Absolutely.
That's my main thing.
Like, I don't know if I believe in what Remy just said, but I'm not totally against it. I would just say that I think that we should be able to be in a space where we evolve our marriage to be something that's, if it's not working, how do we make it work? And can we put aside certain things? But if you're going to do that 5-year renewal or go separate ways, then we should be able to go separate ways without losing all your shit.
That's
you know what I mean? Like,
can I be honest? Like the first 5 years are like the hardest.
That's what they say.
And I don't think people understand. Like it's work, and then when you bring kids into it, it makes this picture like even more like you feel like you're in this structure and you're confined to whatever this relationship is supposed to look like.
Right.
But this relationship looks so different. In the sense of, for me, I know that what worked for my mom and dad didn't last forever. So I know that I saw bits and pieces of what their relationship looked like that I wanted to take and carry into mine.
Yeah.
But when you get into these relationships with people, you're carrying their baggage. They're coming in with different baggage.
For sure.
So for me, it was a matter of understanding, okay, well, I know he's coming from a single parent home. I came from a family structure. What worked in my home didn't work in his home per se. So now trying to blend that information together and try to make it work for us. I didn't want it to look like how, like, some people don't even let their significant others have like female friends if they're not, so
Lord.
For us, that's
nothing but a recipe for disaster on that.
So, but I just don't. I think that works for whomever, because at the end of the day, my trust has to be with him.
Yeah.
So if he has a female friend, of course I know who they are, or I've met them, or whatever the case may be. But I have to trust that he's gonna do what he's supposed to do. If that's just a friend, it's just a friend. If it's somebody that you're attracted to, then maybe you need to back that up. Maybe dial it back.
I've never had an issue with my partner being friends with whomever. Only issue I have with my partner, my woman.
Yo,
Marianne. Come on, Marianne.
Come on.
The only issue I ever had with like my woman being friends with the other sex is if it's an ex.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, why do you want to be friends with your ex? Why do you want to hang out with the guy that you were smashing? Like, like that's my only concern. I don't care about whom. If it's just a friend, I believe in platonic friendships. I have a ton of women friends, and I would hate to have to cut those women friends off just because my woman is uncomfortable with those relationships.
Yeah,
you know.
So Jay, what? I'm sorry to cut you out, Remy, but what if your lady, she left her ex on good terms? They just grew apart and they amicably split. I mean, when she sees him out in public, it's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Give him a hug and keep it moving.
You can still talk, but why you want to hang out at 1-on-1 and have dinner at 7:00 at night? You know what I mean?
You know what it is.
Does it matter if they have breakfast?
I'm just keeping it honest. I don't want you hanging out with your ex at all.
Right.
Unless you got a kid involved. If you got a kid,
you have to.
Then you have to. That's different. But if you're a single not single, but you're in a relationship, why do you need to hang out with your ex?
Right. I totally agree with you. I don't think that I have to hang out with my exes or anything like that. But if I see them in public, like, we can be cordial. Cool. Like, hey,
Absolutely.
how you doing?
Absolutely.
So that's probably always my thing.
See them in public. It's cool.
Huh? Hater. You're a hater. I knew he was gonna bring it up. Perfect.
Why does friends with benefits have a negative stigma attached to it? Because it really falls in the same line of, like, it's a certain type of non-traditional relationship. It's Same thing of like an open relationship, swinging. It's just not you're not, I don't hate the word attached. You're not committed to one particular person emotionally, spiritually, whatever. But when people say, yeah, I just got friends with benefits, or I'm not down with friends with benefits, it's such a negative connotation.
I'll tell you why. Because it never works in the end. I feel like every time.
It works.
No. Every time I hear about.
It has a good
I
run.
done had
Every
plenty.
time I hear about somebody's friends with FWB situation, it's like we started off, we was just fucking, everything was cool, and then we caught feelings, or I caught feelings, or she caught feelings, and now there's a problem. Like it never just stays what it is. It's not something that can actually be sustained.
You know why it's a problem?
It fucks up the friendship every
Because
time.
it ain't
Fucking
communicated. This is what it is when we started, and it needs to remain this way.
Yeah.
That, and they're fucking every week, multiple times. Like you can't be doing it. You can't be doing it every.
So you gotta have
You
restrictions
gotta
on the
ration
sex.
it out.
Are you
But
serious?
that's the thing. If
It's
you
gotta
fuck
come
somebody,
once. It's gotta come once a month, like that food
Think
stamp
about like
card.
100%.
You know,
But consider that if you in a friends with benefits situation, obviously the sex is good and you want it as much as possible. That's the whole relationship.
No,
It's
you
a
can't
whole
do that.
relationship based
I
around
you
agree.
sex.
just gotta
Right.
appreciate it when you get it. You can't
Nah,
be
man.
greedy with it all the time.
Because now,
I'm greedy as fuck.
Because
Like
now
listen.
you have an expectation of this every week.
That's-
Of
but-
course, you're going
but
to
that's what
develop
I'm saying,
emotions and everything. But if it's just
Yeah.
here and there, like on a Friday night, 10 o'clock,
I ain't doing
what
shit.
you
man.
doing?
No.
That's
So
not the
friends
thing.
with
That's not how it
benefits.
goes.
this Facebook user is hitting the nail on the head where it says benefits have to be defined. And that's all at the
Yes.
end of the day, that's truly what it is.
Y'all might as well be in a
Um,
relationship. That's
Right.
what-
Because that's
You
what it
doing how you
starts to
doing
look
it.
like.
Well, so let me ask y'all this. The friends with benefits. Explain it from two single people having friends with benefits versus someone in a relationship having a friend with benefits outside the relationship.
Mm.
So I think the struggle.
Well, first of all, that's cheating.
I mean, how is it cheating if both parties
If it's
are aware
agreed
and
upon.
they're
there
agreed
is,
upon?
That's
there
agreed
is a
upon.
such thing in a non-traditional relationship as consensual open relationship, right? Or whatever you call it. But so I think the difference is, I think it when you're in a relationship and you have a friend with benefit, that is the struggle of potentially becoming emotionally connected to that person, right?
Mhm.
And that can be a bigger problem in a relationship. But as a single person, as a single man, I've been single for a while, but not from a lack of trying. I have had multiple friends with benefits situations where we are friends, we're cool, there's no issue because the intention is clear. This is what it is.
We know when we get together, it's what it
There's
is.
clear communication.
So is it random sex or is it consistent?
It's always random. I don't do consistent. You're not calling me. Don't expect sex once a week, every week. Now, I'm not saying we don't do it if it happens to be that way, but
If it don't, it don't.
It don't.
Okay.
It don't.
So to me, that one thing that I respect about you is I feel like you're very good at kind of like having control over your life and
Setting boundaries.
Yeah, setting certain boundaries. I think like I'm not very good at that. So my friends with benefits is automatically gonna go off the rails real quick.
I'm with
But
you, Remy.
for you haven't had a friends with benefits situation like kind of become toxic because something people are feeling things or whatever. That hasn't
Never.
happened for you.
Because then
And you still maintain a friendship after.
Here's what happens. If you and I have been in a position where I was having friends with benefits, and I was like, man, this woman's kind of dope. I kind of like her. So then you have a conversation about it. Would you be interested in more?
Right.
Right? Because at that point, my feelings are starting to get involved. And then she says no, that person says no, then you have a choice to make.
Right.
But-
Either I decide to be with this person or I need to go the fuck on.
And usually people who've caught feelings or
Facebook user.
who've had that terminology, they usually are the ones that usually walk away because they feel a bit of rejection.
Mhm.
Why can't you still keep that same energy? Because she
Man.
said, hey, I don't want this.
100%.
So a lot of times people feelings get hurt because they were
They've
thinking they were gonna,
attached.
they've gotten attached. So my
Yeah.
thing is, if the friends with benefits, what are you doing to make it stay in that realm? Because normally friends with benefits, you're having sex, you're still doing friendly things, but you're gonna there at some point, like the user is saying, that you're gonna feel like you want to be chosen. Like I want to be with you,
You
all
have
the
to
way. I like how
clearly
this feels.
define the lines that, hey,
Yeah.
we're friends. Sex is just sex. We don't have feelings for
We
each
don't
other.
go out on dates.
Exactly.
We don't go out on dates. You rarely, if ever, spend the night.
See, okay, so
All right.
I'm gonna give the perfect example, and I've shared this before with Solomon. Like, I had a guy friend who we tried the friends with benefits thing, but we were having sex way too much, I think. And so when things would come up, or he
How often were you having sex?
Did you say I love you to him?
no,
Oh,
oh
okay.
no, oh no, I'm not. Look, first off, I'm
definitely saying
100%
I
a
love
girl.
you in the friends with benefits
What?
situation. I'm saying I love you like the second, third time. I just feel stuff. I just be feeling shit.
Come on,
And
Remy.
that's how it goes.
That's why I don't do it. That's why I don't do it.
But like
Exactly.
Solomon was
That's why
trying
I
to
do
get
it.
me to say, it was like we were having sex almost every day.
Mhm.
But when things were happening around him,
Still
I
nice.
was still like, hey,
That's a
yo,
whole
I
ass
got you,
relationship.
friend. We weren't going out to eat. I would make sure, like, I wouldn't even take a shower at his house. So I think he felt kind of bad because I would be like, okay, this was great. Let me go on home. I shower. I'm not showering at your house because that's not what this is.
Right.
And so for him, it was more of that was his connection to me. And I doubt he was. I wasn't there with the "I love you" because if he would have said that, I would have been gone night 3.
Some people will agree to certain types of non-traditional relationships, even though they want a monogamous relationship.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then they try different things. They want you over every day, or they cook for you, or whatnot.
nah.
And that's not a friends with benefits situation. I think that becomes an issue.
Dating.
Yeah, you're
Right.
dating. You're
Mhm.
dating.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically, right, that you're in a relationship and your partner gets injured. Or let's say, hey, we're all men here. At some point our dick's gonna
God.
stop working.
Oh.
Right?
I can't speak to that.
I mean, they got diseases. I mean, they got pills out there, but let's just say it stopped working.
Mm-hmm.
But your woman, so you can't have sex. All you can do is eat pussy, right? But your woman still got needs.
But I'm damn good at eating pussy though.
I'm damn good at it too. But let's say she still want to fuck. Is it a deal breaker? Do you evolve your relationship to a non-traditional relationship,
Oh, it's gonna be.
or do you make it suffer?
It's very non-traditional at that point.
That's the
Like,
thing people don't think about. Like,
No.
shit happens.
we've had that conversation before in the sense of like I think that's selfish if I was like, okay, he's providing everything, taking care of me, and that's out of a bit of loyalty, you know, in that sense. If something didn't work or he wasn't happy with me in that aspect, then that's a conversation we're gonna have. Because everything else works for us. So if that happened, let's say it wasn't working, I'm gonna try everything that we can to make sure we try and figure out like, hey, is this just short term, or what can we do? Is it a little blue pill? What is it? And if that is not, or let's say an injury occurs that he can't do that, he already know. I already told him if sex was bad with him, I'd cheat. I'm honest with him in that regard. Like,
Yo,
Or have a conversation about
that's
it.
something women ain't shy about. They like, if I don't like it, I'm gonna fucking cheat. That's just what I'm gonna do. Wow.
Yeah. So would you be able to evolve that, Remy? Like if
Well, I've thought about that before because I kind of feel like, yeah, you can't really be certain what is gonna happen in life. And at the end of the day, I feel like I do want my partner to be happy. So if there's reasons why I can't, please my partner, then I would want her to be able to still, get. I mean, but at the same time, there's like so many ways to please yourself now. Like there's toys and
ain't the
porn.
same, though.
And
It
it's
ain't
not the same.
It ain't
It's
the
not the
same.
same.
It ain't
But
the same.
but that would probably be the first thing that I would want to have a conversation about before we
As
be
you
like, all right, let's
should.
go find a dude.
Yeah.
You know
All
what I
right,
mean?
so let's do this. Let's wipe that first part of the question off the table. That if we got injured or what have you. So even if you are able to perform, and your mate comes to you and's like, hey, listen, we have great sex. I love the chemistry we have, but there's just something else that I want.
Absolutely.
She would
Would you be
by
open
now.
to that conversation?
I feel like she would be cheating already. Like I feel like they're gonna cheat.
Well,
I
maybe
feel
they're
like
not
women ain't
cheating
gonna-
because they're still in that box that society has given us.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I personally would be open to it. I'm at a place in my life where I am open to even like a polyamorous relationship. Like I don't want to start my relationship off like that. I do believe in monogamy, but I believe in evolving that for ourselves. So if she came to me and said that's what she wanted to do, I would be open to it. But under what are the boundaries?
gotcha.
What are we restricting it to? Because I think I've had a conversation with Remy before. Like with me and my woman on vacation, and she's like, "Hey, I want to have some fun," and then fucking have some fun. But it's only while we're on vacation,
Right.
or we're away from home. Let's not do it where we live. But I'm open to it.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm open to it. Because, again, communication is key, and sex is not a deal breaker. Because I believe that we all sometimes we just want to have non-committed, good sexual release.
Mm-hmm.
Understood. Yeah.
Men and women.
Absolutely.
Men
I
and
totally
women.
agree.
So it's like this. This is like how I equate it. I like to, compare things all the time.
For sure.
If I say, hey, listen, I'm gonna take someone out to dinner every day for a year straight, they get to choose wherever we go.
Mm-hmm.
But the only caveat is I get to choose what we're having for dessert. And we're going to these different restaurants every day, but the same dessert every night. Vanilla ice cream, vanilla ice cream, vanilla ice cream. And you may love vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
After 365 days, you're like, damn, I don't want another scoop of vanilla ice cream.
Right.
So on that 366th day, I say one last time, just for old time's sake, let me take you to dinner. We go to dinner, and instead of vanilla ice cream, I order cheesecake. You're going to lose your fucking mind. Not because you love cheesecake, it's just because it's not vanilla ice cream.
Right.
So in a relationship, you have to be self-aware. It's like, listen, speaking of me personally, I know that I know how to satisfy a woman. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. I mean, hopefully my wife can vouch for me.
Yeah.
But, I know that there might be someone out there that might stroke a little different or give her head a little bit differently or what have you. So, I mean, does it mean I'm not good at what I do? No, not at all. It's just getting rid of that ego and saying, hey, it is what it fucking is.
That ego is a big, big thing.
Yeah.
Would y'all ever be open to a polyamorous relationship, like bringing someone else in to like? And it doesn't have to be sexually related either. The polyamorous could be an emotional connection.
And I get that, but with emotional connections, at some point they evolve into a different space. So I wouldn't be open. But if he was asking me like, "Hey, I just really want to smash this chick" or something like that, hey, I do too. I want to smash this dude. So as long as you're open to that, then I'm okay. Like it's on the table. But I don't think I think with polyamorous relationships, it deals with too many emotions. And as women, a lot of times that is where we want to be chosen, or that's how we decide, hey, where we're gonna fit in, how are we gonna fit in. I don't want them to befriend me. It could have been a polyamorous relationship with him and somebody else, but I just don't want it to affect us.
Mary Ann said ethical monogamy. That's the term I learned earlier about researching this. I was like, ethical monogamy was where you ethnically have someone on the outside that you do it every now and then, but everyone's on the same page about
Exactly.
it, But like you said, the ego, removing the ego is not as easy as people think. I think it's even harder for men
Very much
than
harder
it
than
is for women.
Absolutely.
And I'm not one to typically, I believe that we're all more alike than we are different, but I do think the man's ego, in certain regards, is weaker than a woman's ego. And I think a lot of that comes down to what's that?
She knows I have a phrase I say all the time.
What's that? What's the phrase?
Women are capable of far deeper cruelty than any man, and that's because of our ego. They know how to get at that ego, and they're like, fuck it, I'm gonna get him. She'll go with the dude who's giving her the wackest sex of her life, just knowing that, hey, I'm fucking with somebody else. That's gonna mess with his head.
Not your wife. That is not your wife. Because it's gonna have to be good. Because no.
So would you be open to an open relationship or any different type of relationship, like a polyamorous relationship? Because you said before that you well, I don't want to put the business out there. I'll let you talk about what you want to talk about.
No, I would say this. I would have to pick the dude.
What?
I mean, I'm just saying. I would have to approve. I would have to approve. Because listen.
Remy gonna pick a dude that look like radio.
Let me just.
That's funny.
I'm 5'7", 136 pounds. If she finds some fucking mandingo, she go.
So he got to be 5'4". You saying
he ain't necessarily got, but if I know the dude, like if I can have a conversation with this dude and be like, all right, fuck it, like fuck him, by all means, I would like to at least like the dude or know something about the dude.
You don't just want him coming in and saying what's up on
Not
Max.
necessarily, because I feel like I don't want to lose my girl to somebody. I still want to keep this person. We might as well.
100%.
We might as well if it's gonna be like that, she might as well just cheat. You know what I'm saying?
But if it's just sex, why do you have to meet that person? Like if it's just sex, I don't even want him to like. He can probably introduce himself. Hey, Sullivan, this is so and so. I don't want him to be like, hey, so what's your future plans in 5 years? What you doing with the pussy? Like, no, I don't want you to do that.
You want to be in the room, Remy?
No, I definitely don't want to be in the room. I definitely don't want to be in the room.
That's called a cuckold. That's a cuckold.
I mean, I don't know. I might evolve
I'm
as a
not
person.
watching my girl get smashed. Either we
I don't think
we smashing together, or I'm not in the room.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to see it. I don't be a part of it. Like I'm cool with threesomes. I've done plenty of threesomes in my day, but I'm not gonna be sitting there. Like, I don't want to be anywhere.
So with you saying that you would be, down for an open relationship, let's say this one night, you allowed your girl to go out with someone, that they ended up smashing.
Mm-hmm.
Are y'all gonna have a conversation about it later?
No, I don't.
You don't want to know the details.
I don't need no details. I mean,
and see, I think that's why I differ because I would want to say, Solomon, what was she saying? How did she make it? I would want to know. I probably would because I guess, like I said, because he and I are friends.
Yeah.
Like before anything, it's like talking to my homeboy. So I would want to know, how your homeboys come back with a good story. Man, this chick was banging. I did this, and she was like, So that's how I probably would be. I'd be like, tell me about it, Solomon. Oh man, did you do this? Did you do that move on it? Like, I want to know.
I think if you establish a solid foundation to be able to have a conversation, then yes, I think that's important. Because the more you can talk about that stuff, the easier it is to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when you feel like you can't tell or be open and honest about what you're doing that causes more distrust, maybe, Let's see. So the divorce rate and divorce percentage is lower than it was 10 years ago. So that means people are staying married longer. What are some keys to tips to a successful marriage that you would say, right? Because yes, we're talking about unconventional relationships, but I think we were establishing that you can have a monogamous relationship that is successful as well, based on communication and understanding. So, what are some tips I'm not married, I don't know when I'm gonna get married, but as a married couple, what are some tips that you think that could work?
It's the main thing is the communication piece of it, but also understanding your mate. And when I say understanding, I'm like, Solomon's love language is gifting. So he will gift me, and I love your time. I love being able to sit up. We can talk about whatever. It doesn't even have to be a crowd. It's just those moments where we have when it's just intimate with us.
Right.
So understanding what your mate is into or what they like Solomon knows I can sit and watch a football game on a Saturday and nobody can call me all day. I'm good with that. Or we can go to a sporting event and I'm locked in, and we oh, you see this person? And being able to recognize celebrities in public, that's because we spend time together. So he knows he'll be like, oh, Shannon, that's so-and-so. Oh, I'm going to talk to him. That's how I am. So understanding the person that you're with, being able to have those conversations, whether you like them or not, the difficult conversations, I think that's what's made us successful in that regard.
I think understanding that while you're in a relationship, you are part of a unit. It's not losing yourself as part of a group. You're still an individual within the realms of that couple. So be true to yourself and say, hey, I'm more than just Shannon's husband. Shannon is more than just Solomon's wife. She's still Shannon Royal. I'm still Solomon Davis. This is what I liked before. I don't have to change that.
Yeah.
And if she has an issue with that, then a conversation should be had and there has to be some type of compromise. But, like I said, one of the things I loved about her is I was able to say what it is that I was and who I wanted to be and things that I liked. And she was like, fuck it, I'm down. Let's ride.
And I think part of the reason a lot of people do end up cheating is because they express themselves either sexually or a sexual fantasy or something they want to do, and it's immediately shut down by their partner. And then they just go recluse and hold it in instead of, well, I can't bring this up no more because she don't want to fucking do it. He don't want to fucking do it. So now I'm gonna go off and behind closed doors
and do whatever
do it whatever. So I think that having that communication is a vital piece to a successful marriage or relationship.
I would like to ask y'all one question.
What's that?
What would you feel was one of the biggest problems y'all encountered, and what did y'all do to get past it?
So my thing is, I always say I'm open to whatever conversation. At some point in our relationship, he didn't believe that. And I think men don't understand when women say, hey, we want to hear all of it, the brutal truth. Allow us to process that. And then
that's not all women though. That's you.
I mean, well,
that's you.
Well,
it's a lot of women
that's
like
out
that
there.
though.
But to her credit, I think that's 100% true. And I think most women are like that. But I think we have to understand that we're not going to get the reaction that we want or expect.
That's
like
true.
y'all want to
Right.
know, but we can't
That's
expect
true.
y'all not to necessarily get upset. We got to be willing to deal with that.
You can't
you know?
control
Right.
someone else's
So when
reaction.
things went awry in our relationship, it was more of and that's what COVID did, made us sit down and have a conversation. He was like, I know this is gonna hurt your feelings. Let me tell you why or how I did this, what happened when. And it to me was like, oh, I'm infuriated. But I had question after question. And it could be the next day. I was like, so Solomon, did this happen then? And was this what I thought? Or did I see it in this way? Because like women, we feel a certain way when things aren't going right. They says women intuition. And I feel like that sometimes, but it was the open conversation he continued to have with me. And I wasn't angry about it. I was like, look, once we talk about this, we're not bringing this up anymore. We're going to let this go. It was a chapter, you know, just a little chapter in our book, and it's okay. It can be 2 pages and we're going to be done with this. And so then we were able to create our own terms going forward. Like, this is what this looked like. These are the consequences. Yeah, you got free speech, but understand that there are consequences that come with free speech. So that was how we kind of worked through our process.
I think not taking the present person and using your past in the same relationship, you know, what you did in the past with this current relationship. I mean, this is my second marriage. And in my first marriage, it was like, if we had an issue, we avoided it. We didn't talk about it. You did your thing. I did my thing. And because we weren't on the same page, that led to a lot of infidelity. And so it got to the point entering in the infancy stages of this relationship. It was like, if we had a disagreement, if we had something that, you know, one person got upset about, it was like, well, I'll handle it the exact same way. Fuck it. She gonna do her thing. I'm gonna do my thing. And, you know, our major problem in the beginning was probably infidelity because I handled it the same way I handled it in my previous marriage, not realizing that she's got a completely different mentality than my previous wife did.
Yeah.
And I had to understand that I'm not with her for a reason. So I can't treat this present wife the same as I did the ex-wife due to the fact I'm going to end up in the same, you know, manner as that one did.
I also think part of relationship or having a successful relationship is allowing your partner to evolve, right? So to your point, like, don't hold the past against them. Like, when you get with somebody, that's how you met them at that point, but they're still growing. I'm still growing, you're still growing, and well, you were never like that before. You fucking right. I done grown, I done changed, and what are we gonna do about it? Here's what I'm asking for, and I still love you, and I still want to be with you, but this is what's lacking. How can we fix it? Like, it shouldn't be a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Should sex be a deal breaker?
With you mean like sex with somebody
outside
else?
your marriage? Should sex be a deal breaker?
Not if there's a conversation. If it's cheating,
is cheating a deal breaker?
I feel like yeah. If I get cheated on, like I feel like I'm kind of open enough that we can have a conversation about it and figure out how or what we need to do to resolve this. Whether it's like, okay, well, if you need to fuck somebody, then go fuck somebody. I'll go fuck somebody and we'll come back or whatever it is. I feel like that's kind of what happened with like Will and Jada. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get why it might happen, but when you're hiding something, that's a whole other thing. You know, like if doing something and trying to hide it from me, that I don't like. I hate that. Don't hide shit from me. You know what I mean? Tell me what the fuck is going on. I want to be this goofy motherfucker not knowing what's happening in my relationship.
So I think the sex is just the act itself. I have to know the intentions behind it. And like I said, you know, in my previous marriage, there was a lot of infidelity going on. But the straw that broke the camel's back was, you know, when I caught her the last time, it was, all right, listen, I know that I've been unfaithful and you've caught me several times and we're still together. But with this particular dude, I need to know, are you fucking him just to get back at me? Or are you fucking him because you got feelings for him? If it's to get back at me, then we might be able to salvage this thing because I understand where we're going. But if you got feelings for him, I'm out. And when she said, you know, I think I got feelings for him. Next day, I'm out.
The emotional piece.
But and to his credit in that regard, like because I knew them before. Like I said, I haven't been knowing him forever. We've been friends, and it just happened like our lives are aligned in the way
You
we
was
were
a sneaky
supposed
link.
to. Oh, never that. Look, never that.
The sneaky link.
Sneaky.
Man, he wouldn't even be that lucky to get married to sneaky link. But anywho, like
I almost had you.
Oh, whatever. But I think that Solomon is the type of person, like, if their relationship was, I guess, fine. They did whatever they wanted to on each other. And his response when she cheated, and Marianne is correct, men take cheating differently. why do y'all see red? We see red, but we stay. It's something about it. A lot of women stay.
I think it's because how society has raised us to believe that a woman is precious, that a woman's pussy, vagina is
we're very
precious.
possessive.
So we in our mind, I'm not saying it's right, because I think we definitely need to change our perspective of the woman's body, what she can do with her own body. But I think it's how we were raised. It's like, well, this is my woman, and that pussy mine, and that pussy supposed to be sacred. Ain't no other man do it. Now, what's crazy though is, I think more men would be upset if a woman sucks another man's dick versus fucking. I know so many men like, you suck this dick? Oh hell no! I'm done. Versus, well, would you be more upset? Come on, keep it real.
It's just part of the process.
Part of the
it's the
process?
same.
Okay.
It's the same.
Yeah.
But I think going back to what you said, we're taught as a kid that, the man is the king of his domain. So it's like that old story. You at the basketball court, if something don't go your way, fuck it, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
It's my ball.
Exactly. It's my ball. I'm going. But when, another dude's involved, you're like, damn, I can't take my ball. I just got to haul ass. He still got my ball. It's almost like you lost the fight,
Yeah, and I don't know if it's I think it's a bad thing if we try to be possessive of women or of our woman. But I also feel like it's kind of good to hold your woman in a higher regard. It just can't be at the detriment of her happiness.
Right. I totally agree.
So one of the things I was reading or looking up some new terms of unconventional relationships, and it was solo polyamory.
What is that?
Solo polyamory. Someone who has multiple intimate relationships with people, but has an independent or single lifestyle. They see themselves as a primary relationship. They focus on themselves and have no desire to live with another person long term. Would this person in today's society be considered a red flag?
That's just a person just doing them.
But that's
I'm fucking who I want to fuck. I don't depend on anybody. I'm taking care of myself. So, that's just somebody doing them.
I would agree. I think some of these titles that have out there for non-traditional relationships, I'm like, does that really need a title?
No. I can see somebody doing them, but at what expense?
Yeah.
Are they doing them and getting their rocks off, but you're hurting people's feelings in the process, or tearing down someone else in the process?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it sounds a little narcissistic.
I don't know if it's narcissistic. I mean, if you don't want to be in a relationship, but you can develop, intimate connections with multiple people.
Well, that could be a Diddy.
What Diddy doing? What is that?
He has a whole harem. Like he has, and it's usually these younger women that you can kind of mold
and control.
Yeah. So he's kind of moving in that same space. I have a baby on you, and you're still my girl. You're not a side chick.
Or Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon out here making babies with all these.
I think he's just doing that to harvest,
What? You want to be a wild and out girl? Can you produce?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think that sounds more along the lines as Diddy. He's giving people what they want. Like he knows that, let's say one is into money, is into gifts. So you buy them lavish gifts, but you still get to be with this woman, and this woman, and this woman. And everybody knows about each other. But
it's a polyamorous relationship. You get different things from different people.
Absolutely.
Right. If you and I think the beautiful thing about a polyamorous relationship is that it doesn't have to be the man that's in control. Like it could be the woman who says, I get the physical part from you, I get the emotional part from this person, and I get the adventurous part with this person. And they're all aware of one another, and they can spend time together. So I just think that there should be more conversations about different types of non-traditional relationships, because people are struggling in monogamous relationships because it's not for everybody. Right. Monogamy is not for everybody, but society kind of brainwashes or teaches people that this is the only one true way, and they beat their head. They keep trying, they keep cheating, or they keep doing whatever. It's like, well, maybe you want to try something else.
Yeah, that's true.
Women too. Really?
What do you call it? What do you call it when you like sort of have like so when you're home, you kind of don't have a relationship, but when you go to like different cities where you know different people, you go there and you like, fuck with that person or whatever. Y'all do whatever y'all do while you're there. Then you go back home and you just live your life like you only kind of are with that person while you're there. I know some
Solo
people who have
polyamory.
relationships like that.
You're right.
Yeah.
Solo polyamory is what it is.
But like I said, that's just me doing me. I mean, why does it need a like
title? Yeah, I agree. Why does it
Well,
need a title?
just because the big thing I feel like with unconventional relationships is that the more we give them like a label, the more we can kind of normalize it. And I feel like that's part of the issue why people don't feel like they're allowed to do something like friends with benefits is because nobody's really talking about it as a normal thing. You know, like it should be okay if that's what you like to do.
So I have a friend in the comments. I ain't gonna say which friend it is, but she has always said that she would love to get married, but want to have separate houses and live in separate houses.
And that works for some
So
people.
you're married, you spend time together, but I don't want we got two different houses. And there's some people who believe in that.
What's the point of being married?
Exactly.
But I think that happens in a lot of older relationships, like older couples who come and who get together and let's say they marry. When you met me, I had my own, you had your own, and they just kind of spend the night at each other's house. Like
Let's
I
just
know
sign
older.
a piece of paper. It's called a prenuptial agreement.
Wow.
But I mean, it's something to say that you enjoy your space, not necessarily need somebody in your space 24/7 every day of the week. And so, I don't think it's a bad thing if you have you're married and you still got your person, but they just don't. They can spend the night. They can stay the night, but
I'm married, and
home.
then in my older days, I'm married, and all of a sudden I'm feeling chest pains in the middle of the night. I gotta find myself on to say, "Hey, call 911." Yeah,
that to me is like having your cake and eating it too. Like, what is the point of even being married if you're gonna live separately? Like, why is it even marriage?
Are you living around the corner? You living across town?
But marriage does not have to be living together. That's what society has put us in,
To
right?
me-
That's
to
a
me-
social construct.
To me, that's what marriage is about creating a structure around this relationship. And if you're living separately, that's not a structure. That's two separate structures.
Melissa said, "Yes, I do. I have evolved to separate bathrooms. Maybe." She was the one I was talking about. Who talked about that? So I don't know. I just think it's different. I wouldn't want to do it, but
so Melissa, you gonna cook dinner and then take it next door?
I mean, I guess they would cook at their own houses and be like, "You have dinner at my house tonight" or whatever. But the only thing about that is like, okay, one of the benefits of marriage is like multiple incomes, and then you're ultimately able to have one nice big house because we're both using our money for this expense or whatever. If you got two separate houses, you're not getting the benefit.
A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but one of the benefits of marriage is supposed to be increasing your wealth, right? Coming up together.
She says she get a life alert for midnight emergencies.
Life alert. So another term I learned is polyfidelity or polyfi. And
that you're just committed to the people that you're involved in.
Yep, a group who lives together, raises kids together, and just has sex practices to reflect a close arrangement. So it could be 4 or 5 people, but you're committed to each other, and you're not fucking or sleeping with other people. Like this is us. This is our thing. So talking about wealth, doesn't it make more sense to have 4 or 5 people putting it into a pot to build?
That's sister wise. And
but it doesn't be women though.
Yeah.
It could be men. It could be more.
I would say
but
that
it's
would
more
be
common
ideal.
that they have.
That would be ideal
the man
for me.
Usually has that.
That would be ideal for me, just because, for one, I like the idea of multiple incomes. You know what I'm saying? As many people making money, we can have a fucking mansion.
Lord, my mama in the comments.
It could be 5 of us, and we can have a mansion. If I fuck with everybody in the relationship, like I'm cool with all the dudes or whatever, and I'm fucking all the women, we're all good. Everybody's good.
So let me ask you this then: if that's the situation, and in that house it's 2 women and 3 men, and then at some point in time, one of the women just said, "You know what? This ain't working for me no more. I'm out." So now it's 1 woman and 3 men. You get in that mood one night and you're like, "Shit, I want to smash something."
It's not your night.
And she's like, "Nah, I'm with him tonight."
It definitely throws off the dynamic for sure.
Yeah. But you know what? I thought about actually as someone as a single person, like me and my friends just buying like a fucking compound, and we just living in that motherfucker and like putting our money into a pot. And we just growing up. Well, that doesn't mean that we fucking each other, but this is my
living together.
This is my pod. This is my quad or whatever, and we are building together. And it's a polygamous relationship without the sex.
Yeah, we can get a fucking 4 unit apartment building. You know what I'm saying?
Roommate.
Everybody get their own unit.
Yeah.
Listen,
And we-
man.
There's
The
so
cost
many.
of living is expensive out
They
here.
call that roommate.
No, I mean, some probably call it roommates, but if you're all putting in a percentage of whatever to build your wealth, and you're all happy, you all dating whoever you want, but this is your foundation. I don't know. I just think it's different. There's different options out there, man.
Just keeping it real with y'all and being honest. I think I would be down for a polyamorous relationship. Me and Shannon having that conversation, if a huge if we didn't have a kid.
Right.
I'm not giving someone else authority over my kid and how to parent.
That's something else people don't think about is the kids' involvement and how that affects the kids. So that's for sure.
But you saw Marianne said we gotta know who the father is.
It's true. I mean, you can't
Gotta be
factor any
one man.
emotions either.
We are the father.
So my last thing that I'm gonna bring to the table is this: should more people customize their relationships instead of trying to fit themselves into traditional relationships and roles?
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree. 100%. Totally agree. Like, I know people always talk about Will and Jada in their relationship and how that works.
I love their relationship. I know I'm on outside looking in, but I'm one of the people who actually likes it.
So for me, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. That's their relationship. It works for them. I don't pay no bills at their house.
Yeah.
I'm not invested in that way. But that's their life and their lifestyle. I can't judge them just because it's not probably ideal. But at the end of the day, I'm not judging them for that. I think that it's important for people to define terms in your relationships, what you're willing to allow, what you're not willing to allow. And I think that makes a healthier relationship.
I love Will and Jada's relationship with one exception.
What's that?
I think that Jada has still this too deep of a love for Tupac.
Yeah.
And if Pac was alive, I think that relationship would be hell.
Can you love more than one person at once? I mean, that's a part of unconventional relationship. Right?
I mean, but dude is Pat.
He's
Pac
been
got shot
long
in
gone.
95,
Let it go.
96.
Let it go. Yeah.
And you had your kids writing letters to Tupac.
Yeah, at some point you gotta let it go, right? Remy, you say yes?
Yes to what?
That people should customize their own relationship and stop trying to focus on
Yeah,
what society says.
I mean, I feel like monogamy is cool, but it's very traditional, and I feel like society in general has evolved a lot, and I feel like we kind of need to just be more willing to open things up a little bit, depending on what works for y'all. It's all about communication. That's the most important thing. As long as you talk about it, I think anybody can make anything work. But I feel like the old ways. We've been doing that shit for too long and it's not working. Look at the divorce rate. Look at how how many single people there are at our age just not
There are a
able
lot
to
of
find
single
love.
people.
But my observation of that is the dynamics of life as we know it has changed.
Absolutely.
I mean, when I was growing up, being raised by single parents, my parents divorced when I was 2. So my mom had a lot of support from my grandparents.
Yeah.
And I would hear stories growing up how, my grandfather cheated on my grandmother, but grandma wasn't going nowhere. She knew that was her rock. But my grandfather was the provider. He was the one who did everything
Nor
for
could
her.
she go anywhere. Where was she gonna go?
Exactly. I mean, so in today's day and age, when you have a female, getting the bag just as much as the man is, she's like,
Absolutely.
listen, I can provide for myself.
Absolutely.
I don't need your ass anymore.
Yeah.
So the dynamic of how we live
That's
versus
changed.
the past generation has changed.
Yeah.
So that's one
Absolutely.
of the things I am glad that we've evolved from, where women have become, we're no longer codependent in that regard. I love the bit that we are independent, but at the same time, when you're in relationships, you have to be a little bit dependent on the other person in some way, shape, or form. Not
Yeah.
necessarily,
Right.
it could be emotional. It could be, if it's monetary, that's a situationship. Basically, you have that situation. That's what you're doing. You're there for the financial benefit of that.
Yeah.
But I think that being independent now, it's difficult to kind of go back to that old school mindset. But because we are making the same money that men are making, we're able to run a household in the same facet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what we have to get away. Like, I'm glad we kind of evolved from the traditional idea, because you're right, grandma had nowhere to go. He was making the money, taking care of everything, and she had to take care of the home. And then,
Miserable.
look, and then you have these outside kids that they couldn't come to your house, but those were still his kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now we live on our own terms.
Can we talk about situationships for a minute? Because I feel like that's kind of a unconventional type of relationship that
Really quickly,
people-
because we're at an hour and 27 minutes.
we got time. People just kind of fall into like situationships, but I feel like if people kind of did that kind of thing with more intention, you know what I mean, it wouldn't, because I think situationship is like a toxic kind of thing now. You know,
well, a situationship typically is a side chick or a side dude.
well,
right?
usually you just end up in it. It's not a choice. You think you're in a relationship, but in reality, or you want more from this person, but this person is actually just keeping you at a distance because they don't necessarily want to commit to you. You know what I mean? So if people were able to talk about that and decide, okay, this is what this is, which is kind of like what friends with benefits is, but I think it's a little deeper than that because one person is more invested. You know,
I feel like situationships are typically not an ethical monogamous relationship, right? It's like the person has a man or a woman and they have a side chick that their husband or their wife or their boyfriend or girlfriend aren't aware of. So when I think about situationship, I'm not saying that's what the rule of thumb is. But when I think about situationship, I think about it being someone is a side piece and the woman or the man's being cheated on. That's what I think about when situationship.
Is that what it is?
That's what I think about it when I hear the term. I'm not saying that's what it is.
I kind of think situationships kind of are along the lines of that friends with benefit type of thing. Like you falling into something and it's a gray area where they are. So that's kind of my perspective of it.
But see, those evolve as well. And I know we got to wrap this up, but I'm just speaking from previous experience. I had a situation in my past marriage where, having fallen out with my ex, I ended up meeting another chick, and she actually appreciated the fact that I was married, and she was willing to play that side chick role. Did everything that I ever wanted in a side chick and more. The second she found out I was getting divorced,
She didn't want it.
No, she's still there. She was a good friend. She did. We
Gotcha.
kept everything going. Then all of a sudden, Shannon and I started kicking it, and I'm like, you know what? Shannon's that deal. I feel myself locking in with her. Let me let this chick know, hey, I found someone. And she was pissed because
she should have been.
I was a side chick. I'm the next in line. You don't bring somebody in front of me. I mean, just cut it off cold turkey.
I think one thing that maybe women, I'm sure women do this, right? Because I don't want to categorize an entire.
Yes, Marianne, female friends.
She really about no female.
I can't. He couldn't have remained friends with her because they had, for me, I feel like that shouldn't be your friend. If you had sex with them, that changes the dynamic. You're gonna have to get you some new friends. You can, hey, how you doing when you see her in the streets, but that should be just done. That should be done because she's kind of considered maybe like an ex.
But
right.
you said earlier, if you have if you communicated,
he has friends. I didn't say they had sex. I said he had female friends.
So that's the boundary for you. It's
because my thing is, I feel like if you get into familiar patterns when
being
you're friends with
exes
someone,
is so slippery.
Yeah,
it's so slippery. My last thing. I feel like we got to change friends with benefits to penetrationship. Can we do that? I like that term better. Penetrationship. That's my new term.
Yeah, but you can have a penetrationship with somebody who's not a friend.
You could, but usually it's like friends with benefits. Friends with benefits is like, because what do friends with benefits do? They really just fuck. There's no real friend things going on. We're not like hanging out and watching movies. We're just fucking.
So you going and having drinks with a friend that you smashing with the benefits? Okay.
You got to get in the mood.
That's a date. That's a date.
Yeah.
I have definitely had some great sex with friends in the past. I'm just saying, man, sex for me is not the catalyst for
Me too, Jay.
Right? Exactly. I just feel like sex is the thing that people use as the reason why they keep choosing bad people or the reason why something doesn't work out. Me personally, I don't ever use sex as the catalyst. I just say, okay, this didn't work out because we didn't have communication, or this didn't work out because I was upfront and honest about how I was feeling, or something else fell through. For me, sex is never I know people who say, "Okay, I'm gonna be celibate next dating. I'm not dating nobody. I'm gonna be celibate for 6 months." Okay, why? Because my emotions always get involved with sex. Well, maybe you just not. I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. I ain't going down that road.
That's it.
All right, man. Let's move into the final segment, what we call method lessons.
Reading is fundamental. Now let's get on with this school thing. You teach.
So this is
I know what
Method
movie that
Lessons.
was.
Hey, it's a good
Know
movie.
what movie was it?
Class act.
Class act. Yep. That's been ingrained into my brain ever since I watched it. So what Method Lessons is a segment where we basically just talk about something we learned within the last week or so.
So really quickly, for those of you who've been with us the entire time, man, we appreciate you. Do us a favor, share this right now. Leave a comment as well. Share it, like it, love it, whatever you do. But we will appreciate the share. Remy, you going first?
I can go first.
I mean, I don't mind going first. It is what it is. I got a clip. I'm gonna play a clip.
I'll go first, and we'd like y'all to share something too if y'all got anything.
Nah, fuck them. They ain't sharing nothing. Nah, I'm joking.
Yes. Okay. Have y'all ever heard the term gait? GAIT. Are you familiar with that word? GAIT. 4-letter word. It is a person's manner of walking. So it's just like kind of like, like the way Denzel walks or whatever, that's considered like his gait. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that is appealing about him. And I just learned that word recently, and I thought it was interesting because it's just a very basic word, but I had never heard it before.
Cool. I think it comes from like the horse's gait, like people, how they run, how they walk. I don't know if you've ever been to Fit to Run, but Fit to Run, they always want to put you on like the treadmill to show you your gait or how you walk, how your
chiropractors do that.
How your insoles when you walk are inward or outward, or if you have a wide foot, so they can get the right foot for you. And I think a gait, you can notice somebody from afar based on how they walk, right? All you see is their back. You're like, oh, that's so. They look like Solomon walking right there. He walked just like that, like a pimp. So yeah, the gait, GAIT, right? Well, y'all, it can be anything you learned this year, 2020, what are we in, 2022?
2022.
Or something you learned this week. Anything at all. It could be something funny, something serious, whatever.
You ain't learned nothing?
I'm different than you. Go ahead.
I learned just because you do something in your own home that the other person might not be aware of, you need to communicate it. Because it could come back to bite you in the ass later on. And you might have good intentions about why you did what you did, but if the other person doesn't understand those intentions, it can get very creepy.
Like a camera. I don't know why that came to my mind first, but I'm just thinking.
You nailed it. I think sometimes I learned that, sometimes fighting fair.
That's something someone to the left right
fair.
here needs to say he need to learn.
What?
Fighting fair.
Fighting fair.
You've always said you don't fight fair.
I mean, I fight to win. Listen, y'all ain't never seen Friday. Craig did not beat Debo fairly. Okay, he whooped his ass with bricks and trash cans and whatever he could get his hands on.
No, that's a good one though.
Fighting fair.
I always try to fight fair, man. I try to be a fair person. I try to be very understanding. I always tell people the thing I'm really great at is understanding the other person's perspective. Right. I try to remove my ego from it and be okay. I'm listening. I'm trying to understand. If I don't understand, I need you to help me explain it a different way. Right. As I try to fight fair, like I don't go for low blows. And someone hit me with a low blow, I simply just walk away because I know how I can get. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what?
Ain't even worth it.
It's not even worth it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just get excited when I know something's gonna penetrate. I just it's hard for me to just not like you'll think of it and you're like, yo, this is it. If you let it go, it's over.
It's like so for me when I say I gotta learn how to fight fair. I have to learn how to just use my words and not I'm notorious for I'll do a name call and it's not necessarily directed at you in a curse word or anything like that. So what Solomon's coming from with this is because I texted him when he left a camera in the house. I was like, I never saw it. This is real creep of you. And so I didn't know that offended him. And so I'm like, I got to learn how to fight fair with him instead of using those terms. Just be more direct with what I'm asking for or like what I'm speaking about without using as those different adjectives.
Most men, you can criticize men on a lot of things, but the one thing you almost never want to criticize a man on is his character.
Right.
If they're a man of quality, when you criticize their character, it's gonna piss us the fuck off.
Right. And I learned that.
Yeah.
That gets me fucked up in my relationship because my girl has very consistently negative reactions to some things that I do. So depending on how she reacts, I automatically perceive myself a certain way. Like I didn't mean to necessarily come off as creepy or whatever the fuck it was, but you know, that's how she feels, and she doesn't know how to just say, well, like, you know, she don't know how to just communicate it in a way that's normal. She just, you know, said something fucked up to me. So I've been on that side of it. I feel you, my man.
I try. One thing I do
Whatever.
when I have arguments or disagreements, I tend to take notes. I know it sounds silly, but I take notes of what they're saying or things that trigger me. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on.
Yep.
And I'm listening. So when she's done or that person's done, I repeat back. Okay, so I heard you say this right here. This is feeling some kind of way. Like, why are you taking notes? No, I'm taking because I don't want to forget. And I need to know. I need to express myself on the things here that I disagree with or that's triggering me. So I tend to try to, especially if it's over the phone. We have a conversation over the phone. I'm always taking notes because I just want to.
So are you taking notes or are you trying to I'm
trying to understand.
win the fight?
No. I'm not trying to win. Like I'm always.
That's how it can be perceived.
I'm always gonna listen. I'm always gonna listen, and I never bring up my concern until after that person's done, and we have a solution on the table about her concerns. But after that, I'm bringing up what she brought up that I disagree with because it can't be a one-sided conversation. Like you need to communicate how you feel and understand it. However, I need to also be able to express how I feel about what you said about me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I can understand that.
That's something that I need to do because what I do instead is I stop you. Like as soon as you say something that I need to respond to, I'm like, we got to talk about what you just said. I can't we can't move past that. But if I just took notes and came back to it, I guess, you know, it'd be less. And
sometimes it's not even right then and there. Sometimes it's say the next day, hey baby, you know, I want to have a follow-up conversation. And one thing I learned about relationships in my last relationship is just because you have a conversation doesn't mean that it ended, that it's done. Or that sometimes you need to have a follow-up conversation. Like, I know we agreed to this, but how we feeling right now? What's good? You know what I mean? So that's something that I've learned that I'm trying to take. Hopefully I'll take into my next relationship, and whenever that may be.
That's absolutely a good thing to take into your next relationship instead of shutting down. So a lot of times when you have conversations where you're disagreeing on something, I am the one who's going to say, hey, I know we talked about this a minute ago. I'll give you some time because I don't hold grudges. So like if me and him can be having an argument, dinner's ready. You ready to eat? Now he might be scared to eat. He might be scared to eat.
What's your sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
But he may be scared to eat. But that's on him. The food. I'm not gonna do anything to you. I need you to be alive.
I don't know that, dog.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Whatever. I'm really short. Like my memory for stuff because I feel like people leave so like. I never want that moment of saying, I wonder if they knew. So I'm always very conscious of that. I always want to come back and double back to that conversation. Let's make sure we have clarity and that everybody's at peace. And maybe we don't agree on this, but at least you know where I stand. I know where you stand. And it's okay for us not to agree on this.
Yeah.
So that's me. I'm going to always come back.
Yeah. The follow-up conversation has been vital in my understanding of communication. And the only thing I say is like, I don't want it to be a week later. Cause I didn't move the fuck on. No, baby. No. We're not going back a week ago.
This is done.
24 hours. For me, anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So my method lesson this week is I always try to find a clip that I've been watching on TikTok. And this clip is about vulnerability. And I am a person who believes that in order to find love in any kind of relationship, vulnerability is important to have. However, in today's culture, I'm not sure that I feel like women, not all women, a lot of women don't appreciate when a man is being vulnerable or expect the man to be the first one to be vulnerable, even though we're doing everything else first. We're doing what a quote unquote man's supposed to do, but you also want me to be the first one to be vulnerable with my emotions, but yet you haven't. So anyway, I'm gonna play this clip and then I'm gonna ask y'all a question and then we'll just talk about it.
Can I share a secret with you guys?
Please.
From a man's perspective, it doesn't matter if you've been with a man 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, or 15. You have one opportunity with a man to dishonor his vulnerability, and he will never look at you the same. He may act like it. He may walk around with a smile on his face. On the inside, he's like, "Oh no, I would never." He could be going through the worst thing. He'd be like, "Baby, how was your day?" How many women on this panel right now have heard a man say, "Oh, it was good. I had a good day. It was all right." And on the inside, he's saying, "Yep, I went through a whole bunch of shit today, but I'm not telling you because I can't trust you with my vulnerability."
All right. So that's from a podcast called Purple Pill Pod. Now, I'm not saying I agree with what he said. I'm asking y'all, what do y'all think about what he said?
To be honest with you, I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Because there are two different perceptions of that. One, a woman's going to say, I want a man's man, a man that I know is going to be a provider, a protector, and what have you. And with that, they don't want to detect any weakness whatsoever, but they still want you to be vulnerable, which everybody knows at your most vulnerable state, you are in a state of weakness. And so once you show me that you don't appreciate my vulnerability, I'm not going to show you that side again, because now that vulnerability can be taken advantage of.
I think he's correct. And I think a lot of times, and that's something that I had to learn as well in my relationship, because my face will give it away immediately, what I'm thinking a lot of times. And so I've learned that to allow them to say it with a straight face and be like, okay, but it's my reaction to it that makes him determine if he's going to share further. So being in this in this marriage, I've learned how, and that just comes with self-reflection, like being able to acknowledge, one, that I know that I have a facial expression, and two, I got to be able to put on a poker face, because I want you to be able to bare your soul to me, so that way when we're out in these streets, if I hear it and I know that they're doing it to come at you, I want to be able to protect you just like you want to protect me. And I'm not going to do that to another man, because that's you and a man. But if a woman says something to him, I want to be able to like, oh, you ain't talking to my husband. Not like that. You may talk to your man like that, but not him. So I think that sharing that vulnerability and being able to, for us as women to receive that, it's important, because it lets us know you're human. Because a lot of times men don't share their emotions at all. So you don't even know where you stand. So having that bit of vulnerability is important.
You agree with the clip?
Sort of. I'm different, I think, than a lot of dudes, because I'm gonna be vulnerable. I just am. Like, I don't
tell us you're gonna tell them you love them, so I know you're.
I'm gonna say what I feel like I need to say.
2 strokes in.
Listen, it ain't my fault. Listen, she the one came with the WAP. That's her fault. So
put your mom on the phone.
So
I ain't never coming home again.
So it's in my nature to be vulnerable, and I don't know where it came from, but I'm just an emotional dude. And so I'm going to be vulnerable, and if it doesn't go over well, then it's just not gonna work. That's more for me the end of the relationship. I'm not gonna be able to just not be vulnerable anymore. I don't even like you no more after this, because I feel like I'm not safe. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I agree with the in totality of the clip, because I think that if you love someone, being shut down the first time you show your vulnerability doesn't mean, I think there's opportunity to say, hey, communicate. Like, I tried to do this and you shut me down. And if you want vulnerability, this is what I need to see. I do think that, one, is really, unfortunately, hard for men to show their vulnerability. And it takes a very mature woman to understand that if a man is crying, because we don't do it that often, right? So if we cry or we express our feelings and emotions, that means that that man truly trusts you, right? And if you show that he can't trust you, it makes us take a step back and say, yeah, I'm just going to play it cool. But then we're not truly happy. We're not truly expressing ourselves. We're just going through the motions. And that can lead to other things and other issues. Right. So I think, me personally, I'm a pretty calculated, vulnerable guy. Calculated. Like, I'm not just going to always, everyone does not deserve my vulnerability.
Okay. I can understand that.
Right. You have to show me, and that has nothing to do with trust. Like, I'm people, I'll trust you. You can go and do whatever you want. I'm going to trust you. But my vulnerability, you got to earn that. Right. I'm going to show you certain signs, certain things. But once I show you that I'm vulnerable with you and you shut it down, I'm probably going to take a step back. But that doesn't mean I'm going to shut down forever. So I agree with what y'all saying. I just think personally, I'm not going to quit it at just one attempt. Not if I fuck with that woman and I love her and this is my person, my life partner, but I do think a lot of men do shut down. So with that. All right, man. One last time, where can people find his, hers, and ours, and social media, or anything you want to say? Final thought before we shut this thing off.
Yeah, go ahead. You can follow us on his, hers, and ours. 11, 16, 17 is our Instagram. We're also on Ohio Radio. You can catch us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Spreaker, Tidal, wherever podcasts are set. Twitch as well. Yeah, we go live on Twitch on Saturdays at 4 p.m. We're on a bit of a hiatus, a winter break, like they do in Hollywood. So we're taking a little winter break. But we'll be back in January.
That's what's up. Remy, any final thoughts? You good?
No, just
they say that the liquor.
I do want to tell them where to find the packet.
Oh, go ahead.
So if you don't know how to follow us on all the social medias, because we're on like every motherfucking platform, just at A Method Podcast everywhere, and you should follow Jay on TikTok.
Follow your boy on TikTok at the Jay Noetic, not just Jay Noetic, the Jay Noetic. And I ain't can promise you I'll follow you back, but you follow me, you can get some good content whenever I post up.
Right on.
They say the liquor make you talk quicker. We say M is for
mostly,
E is for
everybody,
T is for
talking,
H is for
honestly,
O is for
over,
D is for drinks. Until next time, man. Thank y'all for coming on here. We appreciate the conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
you for being in. See you next week.
All right. So that was wild. And that was just a taste. We do this every week. Just check out last week's episode.
He's right. That was wild. And you can catch last week's episode, the video episode, on Spotify, all the audio, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM. We appreciate y'all. See you soon.